Alright, so we're back with the Team Associated RC10GT, and the tires came in. So this one's going to be about wheels. I will install this one good pair I have on the latest refurbishment. I'm going to glue up these 3 sets of wheels. These 2 sets here from J Concepts are going to go on the electric conversions, and this set will go on one of my Traxxas Nitros, to be determined. So I'm gonna get them glued up while I'm doing these 2, just for the sake of not enjoying it, so I may as well get it over with if I'm doing it. So let's get these tires out of the package. This is a really nice wheel and tire combo, and for that reason I am going to wait and purchase some of the wheel glue tire bands, because the dimensions of the tire are not exactly perfect to the wheel, so I don't want any gaps like this to be in the bead after I glue it. I want it to be seated neatly in there without any gaps there, because things will wobble. So from my experience, I think it'll be best to wait, get the bands, and then glue these. That is not the case here on these old Proline tires. They fit nicely to these Traxxas wheels, so I'm still going to glue these. And when I went to install these wheels on the latest refurbishment, I remembered the issue of the adapters and the different spindles. So some of the pins and spindles are different shaped, and that's what determines what adapter to use or what wheel to use. So this set is not correct for that axle spindle. And the difference is where the pin is. As you can see on the electric conversion, it has a different spindle with a shorter and wider pin, and on the refurbishment there's a narrower spindle with a longer and narrower pin. So as you can see, those wheels won't work, and I decided to search in my inventory, and I rediscovered some stuff that is quite nice. Not all of it's perfect, some of it needs to be discarded, but there's some gems in there, so I'm gonna set this stuff aside and we'll see what I rediscovered. Alright, so starting on the left is mostly takeoffs from Team Associated RC10GT as well as RC10GT2s. These wheels are still good, and these tires still have life left in them. I know there's a way to remove old glue from the tires and the rims. I have to start looking into that process, because unfortunately one of the hexes on this wheel is toast, but the tires are really nice, and some of the glue jobs could be redone. Unfortunately, this nice set of wheels, the tires are not perfect, so I gotta figure out how to clean some of this stuff off so that way they can be reused, because there's still life in them. And these were off of the RC10 T4. They're still plenty good. I gotta find something to put these on and see if there's something that I want to drive on road. all this bling here, HPI. Those superstars are hard to find. I forget where I accumulated them from. But yeah, the paint's chipping. They look to be new, but I think I'll just use some oven cleaner and get all the paint off those and have them be white. These are really nice. What are they called? Dirt runner. Unfortunately, these dirt hogs are starting to dry out. And likewise, these Bandit tires, they're just splitting all over. I want to get another set of them and try them out. I was going to drive these on the Nitro Bandit, but that didn't happen in time, so I still want to do so, so I'll replace the tires. They're cheap enough. So yeah, like I said, not everything's perfect, but I'm gonna have to go through this and see what I want to use. I wish Panther was still in business. They made good tires. But some of the Pro lines hold up even after all these years. So after looking at all this stuff, I think what I'm gonna do is take the foams out of these tires. The tires are going to be discarded. You can see on the bead that they're starting to dry out, so they're not reliable even though there's life in them. So we'll take the foams out of here and we'll use these wheels and run a set of these HPI tires. So that's what I'm going to do for the rear, and I want to use these Proline tires on the front. So I'm gonna take these apart. Hopefully they're not glued. And if they're not, we'll use those wheels with these front tires. Alright, so I got the wheels cleaned up and installed on the tires for the fronts. And got the foams in the tires and on the wheels for the rears. These tires are vented. This is going to be my first time using vented tires, so I don't know if there's any advantages to that. If you know, let me know. But as I was cleaning stuff up, I just wanted to go over the exact reason as to why I'm going to wait for the bands. And as you can see around the bead here, it's not as close to the tire as it could be. And this is minimal and probably could get away with it, but I want to do it right. You can see it's just barely imperfect. And then here's a good example on one of the Team Associated wheels. You can see it was glued that way. So I just want to make sure that the tires are glued properly to the wheels for the new ones here. I think it'll be worth the wait. So I'm going to go ahead and get these used wheels into a box and start the process of getting these two pairs to be usable. I have plans for these Traxxas wheels, so you'll have to stay tuned for that, but let's get gluing. Alright, so that wasn't so bad, but there's two issues that I have. One, on this wheel, right around this part of the bead, I didn't pull the tire back out, so it's not quite flush, but that's gonna be okay. But one thing I didn't notice until I was just finishing on the last wheel was that it's kind of starting to dry out. It hasn't dried out all the way through, and it's only on half of the sidewall. So what I think I'm gonna do, yeah, it's like right around here, is just kind of spread those dried out areas and just kind of massage some of the tire glue into it to fill the space. It's not too bad, but I wish I noticed that before. But yeah, those are the two issues. So we'll see how that holds up. But I'm glad to have a set of wheels on this one. It's that much closer to being ready. Oh, another thing I need to note there is I'm gonna put a spring or a piece of fuel line in that drive cup coming out of the transmission to push the dog bone into the spindle. So the nitros are on wheels, and we're going to be a little more patient here for the electric conversions to get the tire glue bands to be sure that we get a proper seated bead around the tire. Don't want to have any gaps there like that. So that's what I got. If you've made it this far, hopefully I was able to help with the differences in the spindles and the wheel adapters. And yeah, so stay tuned because we're going to continue this project. And don't go too far because we've got a lot more stuff like this to go over.